students, today we will try to understand the nature of travel and the types of tourism under the topic types of tourism. Traveling has been the basic instinct in man. Man has been moving from place to place in search of food since the time immemorial. Even during the prehistoric period, man was moving from place to place mainly in search of food and for hunting. Every human settlement has a long tradition of visits by outsiders like traders and missionaries. The practice and principle of tourism have passed through a long process. It can be traced to development of civilization and technological advancement. It is based on man's curiosity to know about new things. In this regard, in this episode, we are going to study the topic under the following subheadings. They are prehistoric times, educational tourism, religious or pilgrimage tourism, nature tourism and geotourism. The first one is prehistoric times. Travel in the prehistoric times suggests that the movement of people revolved around day-to-day survival. The search for basic needs of life, water, food, shelter and safety kept the man moving from place to place. Generally, regions were explored, fire was discovered and tools were made mainly for hunting. The ability to make tools and build shelter enabled prehistoric man to travel to newer places in search of food even during extreme unfavorable climatic conditions. Thus, the travel concept can be traced to prehistoric periods. History of tourism. Paleolithic evidence suggests that given the right environment, man prefers to reside in one place. During the ancient times, change in climate, dwindling food supplies or hostile invaders made the people to leave their home to seek refuge elsewhere. The Aryans left their homes in Central Asia due to climatic change leading to dwindling food supplies. Perhaps it was the invention of wheel about 5,000 years ago which made travel easy. Trade and commerce developed on account of the invention of wheels. Monetary system was introduced during Harappa and Mohenjo-daro civilization about 4,000 years ago. Most of the early travel was not for pleasure, but the main motive of travel was religious and trade. The urge to explore new land and to seek new knowledge was another motive to early travelers. Homer's great work Odyssey records the wanderlust of ancient Greeks and Romans. There are innumerable references to great explorers who spent many years of their lives in search of new knowledge. Perhaps these great explorers can be credited with the distinction of being the pioneers who subsequently paved the way for the modern tourism. Tourism in ancient India. Traveling was a common feature in ancient India. The great sages of ancient times went to Himalayas to meditate and set up their ashramas, which were centers of learning. Even before Aryans appeared in India about 5,000 years back, Indus Valley civilization thrived in India. Archaeological evidences have been a testimony for the material prosperity of Indus people who established their trade links with Iran, Egypt, East Africa and Mesopotamia. Arthashastra, written by Chanakya or Kautilya in 3rd century BC describes the importance of travel to the state. It also mentions different types of vehicles for travel and classifications of roads. This gives a glimpse of travel and tourism in ancient India. The Mauryan Empire was well known for providing good facilities for the travelers. The Grand Trunk Road was built by Mauryans. Later, Sher Shah improved it with stone towers travel. Infrastructures like caravans, serays, dharmashalas were common. Wells were dug and trees were planted to provide shade to the travelers. Emperor Ashoka the Great travelled widely in his eagerness to spread the doctrine of Buddhism. Tourism in medieval period. The Renaissance market is the next important stage in the history of travel. The reappearance of tourism in Europe follows the Italian Renaissance and the development of urban system. The medieval times also trade and commerce was the principal motto for travel. This was followed by an urge to explore new land and seek new knowledge in different areas. The young Marco Polo left Venice in the year 1271 CE with his father and uncle. He became the first Western explorer to write a lasting account. They travelled through Persia and Afghanistan and reached Kabul and China. On his way back, he visited Sumatra, Java, India and Ceylon. Mr. Benjamin of Tudela, a Jewish scholar, travelled to Europe, Persia and India in 1610 CE. There are also other European travellers who visited India during medieval period. The expeditions of these great travellers have given concrete shape to adventure tourism. Tourism in Europe. The collapse of Roman Empire in the 4th and 5th centuries spelled disasters for pleasure travel and tourism in Europe. During this period, people did not travel for pleasure. A large number of pilgrims were travelling to popular shrines. The Grand Tour. During 17th and 18th centuries, the Grand Tour was made by diplomats, businessmen and scholars who travelled to Europe, mainly to the cities of France and Italy. It became fashionable for scholars to study in Paris, Rome, Florence and other cultural centers. In the beginning, the Grand Tour began as an educational experience, but eventually it became a simple pursuit of pleasure. The pleasure travel became very popular in Europe when holiday concept of tourism developed. During 20th century, specialized tourism concept took a formal shape and it further developed in the 21st century. Slowly, people started traveling for different purposes like business, religious, education, health, adventure, etc. This has led to the development of different types of tourism. The following are the important types of tourism. Educational tourism. This is an ancient concept. Many people travel to different places to get themselves educated. There were two international universities in India in ancient times, Nalanda and Takshashila. According to Yun Tsang, the University of Nalanda provided free training for more than 10,000 students drawn from different countries of the world. The term educational tourism refers to any program in which participants travel to a location either individually or as a group with the primary purpose of engaging in a learning experience. Virtually all forms of tourism began for educational reasons. If we strictly apply the meaning of educational tourism, then all tourism is educational, because we will be getting new experience and enrich our knowledge in every tourism activity. Mr. Rand, in his book The Chase of a Dream, The End of Play, refers tourism as an educative process within the concept of sociological discussion. The historical references primarily consider tourism as an educative and adventure activity. Learning in a non-formal environment is more effective as well as attractive. Structured learning is perceived by the scholars as defining features of educational tourism. Participation in educational tourism enhances the communication and teaching skill among the teachers. It is proved by researchers that group learning has an edge over individual learning. Under the group learning system, effective and more meaningful interaction is facilitated. Even interaction with the local community can be better organized under the group concept over the individual. However, academic research into educational tourism has been very slow. A recent presentation of research papers by scholars in the international conference stressed the importance of establishing the correlation between tourism and education. Scholars agree that education facilitates mobility and in turn mobility results in tourism. People are traveling to a place to learn more about history and culture rather than just for pleasure. This educational tourism is not limited to students in schools and colleges only, but it covers professionals and executives of the company also. Many companies hold their brainstorming sessions and even regular meetings outside their place of work, mostly in some environmental friendly locations. Foreign students as tourists. The modern meaning of educational tourism is entirely different. In many developed countries, education has become a big business. The cost of education varies depending upon the state of development. In many developing countries, including India, the quality of education is competitive and the infrastructure is satisfactory, while the cost of education is very cheap. In many African and Middle East countries, the system of education has not much improved and the quality is not up to the international standard. If the parents send their children to Western Europe or USA, they have to spend 50 to 60,000 US dollar. On the other hand, if they send their children to these developing countries, they need to spend hardly 25% to 30% of this amount. As a result, every year thousands of students go to these countries to get their education. They also visit a number of destinations nearby. International educational tourism has been recognized as an important market segment in the tourism industry. The best way to conceptualize the educational tourism is to look at the broad range of activities. These include traditional educational institutions like schools and colleges, study tour trips, exchange program, company executives off-campus meetings, etc. Problems of foreign students. There are number of problems relating to foreign students in any country. The culture, lifestyle, dress, food habits vary. Since during their teen age, the students are away from their parents and they enjoy too much liberty, it may have adverse impact on their career growth. There may also be ethnic problems within the campus. All these negative impacts have to be properly addressed to minimize their negative impact on the socio-cultural life of the host countries. Next is religious or pilgrimage tourism. Man has been visiting various religious places since the time immemorial. Even during the ancient times, people used to visit temples to get solace from their routine. In religion and spirituality, a pilgrimage is a long journey for search of peace and satisfaction. A person who makes a journey to such a place is called pilgrim, and a journey to a sacred destination is called pilgrimage. People have been visiting sacred destinations all over the world since ancient times. There are different sacred places for different faiths and beliefs. Although a pilgrimage is normally viewed in the context of a religion, the personality cult cultivated by communist leaders ironically gave birth to pilgrimage of their own. This type of pilgrimage to a personality cult exists even today. Reasons for pilgrimage. There are a number of reasons for people to go for pilgrimage. It varies from person to person. Even one person may make trip to one holy place at different times for different reasons. However, the following are some of the important reasons. Divine relationship. One of the most important reasons that people of all faith go on pilgrimage is to develop a closer relationship with the God or nature. Holy locations tend to inspire a sense of contentment in those who visit them. Emotions and thoughts can clear and crystallize the thinking when you visit such places. Establishing a relationship with the Supreme is the central theme of visiting religious places and making a pilgrimage. Forgiveness. Seeking forgiveness is another reason for people to go on a pilgrimage. A common belief among traditional people is that pilgrimage is dedicated to God that can lead to forgiveness of all sins committed by man. Sincerity and the desire to transform negative experiences into positive ones is part of the forgiveness of the pilgrimage. Healings. Many believe that holy destinations contain a healing energy. From the times of Jesus, people have traveled to sacred destinations in the hopes of getting a spiritual and physical healing. Spending some time in a holy and peaceful atmosphere can have positive effect on our mind and body. Guidance. Many people seek guidance for a specific issue when they face some problems. To get some solution to their problem, they undertake pilgrimage. Many will get guidance in different forms in holy places when their mind is disturbed. Annual pilgrimage. Many people visit a sacred destination at least once in a year as a family tradition. They go to the place of their belief and worship in different forms to achieve the life's goal. According to Hindu belief, the ultimate goal of a man is to get moksha, freedom from birth and death life cycle. To meditate and pray to God to achieve that goal, people may go to sacred destination. Similarly, people belonging to Islam faith believe that one should make Hajj pilgrimage at least during once in lifetime. Personal transformation. Personal transformation is often a positive effect of pilgrimage. Visit to holy places give rest to person's routine work and refresh the mind, which can lead to self-discovery. The new vision for future is illuminated. Coming to nature tourism. Urbanization has become an indispensable part of modern life. People will be fed up with congestion, pollution and other problems of urbanization like water, pure air, transportation and other basic necessities of life. People wants to have a change, relax from their routine. Nature is perhaps the most preferred and best destination for such a change. It gives us solace, peace of mind, rejuvenates both our body and mind. It is the most precious gift by God to humanity. Nature tourism may be defined as a visit to pristine natural destination. The study of indigenous culture and social customs have given a value addition to it. It creates several channels for education and employment of rural people. Man, as the most civilized creature, has developed a very close affinity with nature. Nature teaches a lot of things to a man and gives answers to many of his problems. Man has developed an emotional relationship with nature. Experiencing the diversities of life, man learns a lot from the biodiversities of nature and its surroundings. Nature teaches many valuable things to man which cannot be taught in schools and colleges. Thus, nature is the best teacher for all living creatures of the universe. Man is the only creature who spoils the nature. Nature should be preserved, conserved and protected. Those who vandalize the nature are not only enemies of nature but enemies of mankind. The beauty and charm of nature has always been fascinated many people, including poets and writers all over the world. Many get inspiration to write when they sit in the surroundings of nature. The explorers were quite amazed when they explored the Amazonia, the largest wilderness in this earth. It is the home for largest number of mammals, reptiles, birds, insects and other strange creatures. Next is geotourism. This is a new concept in tourism that sustains or even enhances the geographical character of a place, such as its architecture, culture, environments, heritage and the well-being of the local community. It is a new concept introduced in 2002 in a report by a Travel Industry Association of United States of America. Like ecotourism, geotourism promoted a virtuous circle whereby tourism revenue provides incentives to protect the destination. Its principle is extended beyond nature and ecology to incorporate all features that contributes to sense of place, such as historic structure, living culture, landscapes, cuisines, art and craft, and the flora and fauna of the destination. Geotourism incorporates sustainability principles and in addition do no harm ethics concept. It focuses on the place as a whole. The idea of enhancement allows for development based on the character of the destination rather than standardized international diversity shall be maintained at any cost. It enhances the geographical character of a place, its environs, culture, aesthetics, heritage and well-being of its residents. It has given the following principles for geotourism. Integrity of the place. Enhance the geographical character by developing and improving it so as to be distinctive to locals, reflecting the natural and cultural heritage. International Code. Adhere to the principles embodied in the Global Code of Ethics as given by UNWTO. Market selectivity. Encourage growth in tourism market segments most likely to appreciate, respect and disseminate information regarding distinctive feature of the destination. Tourist satisfaction. Ensure that the tourist gets satisfied about the destination and spreads this information to his friends and relatives. Community involvement. Base the tourism development involving the local community and they should get a fair share of development. The local entrepreneurs and other traders should be given their due share in the benefits. Protection and enhancement of destination appeal. It creates awareness among the local residents and tourists about the importance of protection, promotion, conservation and enhancement of destination. Land use. Anticipate the future development and try to avoid overdevelopment which will create overpressure on environment and ecology. Natural diversity shall be maintained at any cost. Resource utilization. Minimum use of water and other resources shall be made. Suitable waste management strategy shall be adopted to minimize the pollution. Development plans. Suitable and sustainable development planning should be adopted. Evaluation. Establish an evaluation process to be conducted on a regular basis by an independent body representing all stakeholders' interest and suitable corrective actions to be taken on the basis of the observation given by the review committee. Business tourism. Even during the ancient times, man started travelling to different countries for trade and commerce. There was good international business amongst most countries like India, Egypt, Rome, China and other Asian countries of the world. When people travel from one country to another for trade and commerce, they also visit historical places and tourist destinations. This practice is being continued even today. With globalization, the world has become small. Multinational companies have become a common feature in the modern business. People travel to different cities for business meetings, conventions, conferences, seminars, etc. within the countries and to other countries as well. Normally, they plan in advance to visit some tourist destinations which are nearby the place. Thus, along with their business dealings and transactions, they also become tourists. With enormous increase in trade and commerce, there is vast increase in business tourism also. Dear students, after going through the discussed episode, we hope that you are able to understand the ideas of types of tourism and their importance. Thank you.